So welcome to Mindset Class. Great to see all of you here. I would encourage you to have a think about if there's something that you want to work on. Please note that this will be recorded though, so it may be used in other forums. So just keep that in mind. But if there's something in particular that you want to work on today, it is your opportunity, because one person will work on something publicly. Okay, so the purpose of being here is this. Being in business is actually a form of being in relationship with yourself. And I mean, I don't know about the rest of you, but I know that since I started my business, it has been an incredible journey of getting to know parts of myself that I probably otherwise wouldn't have learned about or been in relationship with. It's very different to, say, being in an intimate relationship or with your children or whatever that is. And the reason is, in my opinion, because of the law of reflection, meaning that everything going on within you will actually show up in your business outside of you. There's nowhere to hide. And so when there's blocks in you achieving something inside of your business, it's actually because there's something going on inside of you that you haven't moved, you haven't dissolved, you haven't dealt with. And so it'll just keep showing up for you as a way to get you to come into balance and get you to really expand and evolve. So obviously, a lot of the work that we do, whether it's one-on-one, in Connect with Content, in Perfect Prospects, in Business Builder, all of the stuff that you guys do with me, obviously there's a lot of strategy. I think you guys know me well enough that I also make sure I weave in principles, but mindset is obviously a big component as well that you need if you want to have a thriving business. Okay, pardon me, it's falling, the light's falling now. Okay, so however, it's obviously very powerful to have that sort of training in addition to being able to serve with strategy. So today, one person, can you guys still hear me? What's happening? Yep. Yes, no?
You cut out for a while.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so today one person will get to publicly do some work, but I encourage you to be present and take notes about what the insights are that you're getting from the other person, because there is a ripple effect that happens when you do work together, and it's felt by everybody that is here in the community. You will find that synchronously, we are all having a same or similar experience. So even though one person will publicly do work, there will be messages in what happens today for you. And so it's really about you taking those notes or the insights that you get relevant to your own situation as you listen to others today. Okay, so a show of hands only is that who has something specific that they would love to work on today? Just a show of hands. Nick, Carly, Savneet. Okay. So I'm going to give each of those people 30 seconds only. Please be succinct on what it is that you want to work on today. And then I'm going to get everybody else to, when we finish with the 3 people sharing what they want to work on, I'll get you as a community to choose which topic. So this is not personal, right? It's not about the person, it's the topic. Which topic you would love to have us work on as a community, because obviously, you know, then everybody gets the maximum benefit. So Nick, I'll get you to unmute yourself and go first in 60 seconds. Sure. What is it? What's the topic you'd love to work on today?
There's a feeling or belief of things are too crowded or too much noise, and a sense of, like, when I go into these Facebook groups, it's a feeling of, oh, everyone in these Facebook groups is just coaches trying to sell their thing. So, like, where's the actual person that I find. I'm seeing some head nods of like, how do I actually get through to the person who I need? So it's a sense of like maybe over competition, or it's over a crowded marketplace, or like where are the actual consumers. I'm not exactly sure how to articulate it, but that's what's on my mind. Do you capture the sentiment of what I'm saying at least?
Yep. All
Okay.
good. Thank you.
Perfect.
Yep. Perfect. Awesome. Carly. Hey, Christopher. Carly, in 60 seconds, what is the topic you would love to work on today?
So the thing that we kind of found recently, where I feel uncomfortable working with strangers, I think is the intimate connection you have in like a coaching atmosphere, and that everyone on Facebook or Instagram or social media is actually a stranger. And there's a bit of discomfort just starting with someone that I've actually like never met before. And also my perception is that a stranger wouldn't want to work with a stranger, someone they've never met before and they just reached out to, and it's like all introduction.
Okay, interesting. Okay, I hope you guys are listening, because you're going to pick the topic in a minute. And last but not least, Savneet, what's the thing that you would love to work on today?
Don't I get to add in?
No, Christopher, we were just going through before you. It's going to be one person. So we had a show of hands of if there was something that people wanted to work on today. So it's not everybody is getting, if that makes sense. Is there something specific you want to work on today?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll give you 60 seconds in a minute, and then we'll get everybody to choose which topic we're working on. Savneet, go for it.
Okay, so I have this little apprehension, or I'm scared of getting on sales call and sending out my DMs. Okay, I have this feeling that they will judge me, and they will reject me, and I tend to keep making it all about myself rather than making it about them, So that's what I want to work on today.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing, and very insightful to realize that you're making it about you rather than them. Okay, last but not least.
Thanks for waiting for me, y'all.
Christopher, what is the topic that you would love to work on?
I want to work on having my sales conversations in one shot, not spread out over multiple calls, so that I can just show up powerfully in one conversation and go, yeah, this is where you are, and this is and I'm your person to help you with this, and this is the offer, right? Yeah. That's what I want to work on.
Awesome, love it. Okay, so team, again, just so we're clear, we're not choosing a person. So this isn't, so if you don't get chosen today, please don't take this personal. It's about the topic that people have shared, because then that way we're going to get the most bang for our buck today. We're going to get the most ripple effect from the work that we do. So just in the chat, please obviously write the person's name, because it's going to be easier and quicker on who you would love the topic that we work on. But just as a quick overview, so Nick's is about feeling like the marketplace is overcrowded, and he's finding it difficult to hone in and find the people that he needs. Carly's topic is about feeling uncomfortable connecting with or working with strangers, and also believing that strangers won't want to work with her. Savneet's is a fear of judgment and rejection relative to sending DMs and then also getting on sales calls. And Christopher's is around wanting to hone in on being able to have his sales conversations in one call rather than multiples. So guys, in the DM, who are we working on today? Okay, good. Through for Nick, discomfort of stranger. Carly, okay, it's looking like Nick so far. Is anybody else going to jump in and vote? Carly. Oh, we might have a tie. Hang on, let me count again, because this chat's terrible. What do we got? So how many we got for Nick? One. Nick, I'm going to ask that you don't vote. The people that shared their topic don't vote. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3 for Nick, and then 1, 2, 3 for Carly, and Kimmy's bought it home with a 4th for Nick. Okay. All right, awesome. So Nick, it's you today. And guys, like I mentioned, there will be a ripple effect. There will be messages in this for you. So I really encourage you to stay present. Maybe even be answering some of the questions yourself as we're kind of working with Nick. If you have your own insights, you'll want to write those down. And I will obviously be taking some notes from time to time as Nick is talking. So if you hear some tapping, that's what that is. Okay. Nick, can you unmute yourself, please?
Sure.
Thank you for being brave to work on this publicly and being vulnerable.
Of course.
Very much appreciated. Okay, so what is the trait, action, or inaction about Facebook groups in your perception that you dislike the most?
Trait, action, or inaction. Where I tend to, there's an inaction of not doing it, and what that stems from is uncertainty. So it's two things supporting the uncertainty. So one is like the belief in the first place, like, oh, will this work for me? You know, is this work for anyone? And I know that it does, but it's still, and it's worked in the past, but it's still, that thing pops up. So one is, you know, belief that this process is the right way to go with Hop. And the second was the second? Oh, like moment to moment clarity, which would be like picking the groups, and there's a tendency to hesitate or procrastinate when there's not like absolute certainty in it.
Okay. So team, if you are hesitating, procrastinating on something, not doing something, what that tells you is that you don't perceive that task to be of high priority to you. And what it means is you've actually got a fantasy going on about something else that you think would be better. And you're using that fantasy to make excuses for why you can't do the thing. But equally, you're also not going after the thing that you're judging as better. So let me ask you this. If you weren't doing Hour of Power or going into Facebook groups, what would you rather be doing?
I think this is going to possibly trigger some people, but looking for a job maybe. So
Okay.
everyone's like, that's your fantasy. It's like, no, that's not, but it's like a thing of,
everyone else.
it's the, I know you have to do something for lead gen, but so I've kind of bounced around different things.
Stop. All I asked you was, what is the thing that you would rather be doing? And you said looking for a job. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let's stay on track. And by the way, don't worry, there's lots of people in the chat who are saying this resonates. So don't think that others are judging you, because everybody is having a similar experience to a degree, as you can see. Look, Bart says he's still in a job. Okay. What is it about being or looking for a job that that you think would be better than working on your business?
I'm certain I can get a job, and I'm certain that it'll have a level of stability, like a base salary or paycheck or something. So I think this is centering around certainty.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, so certainty is a label, so we really want to unpack what certainty means, right? It's kind of like success. It actually means nothing until you kind of get clear on what that means. So what does it think or feel like for you to be certain?
It's knowing as a fact that there's going to be money there.
Okay. All right, so that's actually what you're looking for. It's knowing that there will be money. And so inside of your business, for all of us, there is a degree of uncertainty or a sense of uncertainty because you feel like you never know for sure how much money is going to come in. And you also feel a burden of responsibility because you have to show up in order to generate that money versus going to a 9 to 5 where you're getting paid whether you're hungover or whether you're doing your work, right? Okay, so Nick has a fantasy that being in a job would give him a better lifestyle in terms of security, stability, certainty, money. Nick, what's the drawback to knowing as a fact that money is coming in? What's the drawback to you?
It's not as exciting. There's a ceiling on it.
Uh-huh. What's the drawback to you in terms of performing to your highest potential?
I just have to do good enough to not get fired.
And what's the drawback to you of just having to do good enough to not get fired?
It's like unsatisfying. It's not congruent with who I am.
Oh, what's that? Say that again.
It's not congruent with who I am. It's not characteristic.
Right. And if you're in a 9 to 5, hey, Aaron, if you're in a 9 to 5 and you're sitting there with your sense of certainty and security that, you know, X amount of dollars is coming in next week, is that serving you in your mission or taking you off purpose?
Taking me off purpose. It's not that simple either, though.
What do you mean?
I don't know that it would have to be 9 to 5, but for most people, maybe that's what comes up. It feels like right now there's a lot of pressure to perform, and like the pressure of like, fuck, I need to get this sale is interfering. It's wanting to hedge the bet. Yeah.
So the pressure to perform, which, by the way, guys, and again, Nick, I appreciate you being the guinea pig today. You will hear me, you would have heard me speak a lot about voids and values and the fact that you are your niche. And if you think that what you help people with is not a problem that you have, you are daydreaming, because Nick helps people to work under pressure to perform so that they can be high performers. And now here we have the beautiful balance where Nick is battling himself on his, you know, perceived pressure to perform in the area of making a sale, working with clients. Can you see that, Nick? So what is the benefit to you of having a sense of being under pressure to perform on a sales call?
What's the benefit?
Yeah,
I don't see benefit right now.
I know, because you're highly polarized, so it makes it really difficult to see the balance. What are some of the things that you've been able to achieve when you've been under a lot of pressure?
Can put in more hours than I would have normally thought. Or get resourceful, maybe. Do things that are uncomfortable.
And is that important to you, to be able to extend yourself to do things that are uncomfortable?
Yes.
Why is it so important?
There's no other way.
No other way to what?
You can't can't be an entrepreneur, you can't have a thriving business and be like average or okay. You don't get to be comfortable and average and do that also.
Mhm. So if you have I'm just trying to find your words. If you know as a fact that money is there by going and getting a job, how else is that a drawback to you in your life? And I want you to think about the 7 areas. So we've got business or career, finances, spirituality, family, mental, social, and physical. How's it a disservice to you in those different areas?
It's a time cost, and it's going to cost time and energy, and it's going to occupy like a lot of my attention, a lot of those mental resources. So it consumes resources is the bottom line, and there's an opportunity cost associated with that. So, X hours spent at this job is hours of lead generation or making content or what have you that could be going towards the business.
Mm-hmm. So guys, this week in Hop at the start of the week, we spoke about the difference in you investing your time, energy, and money. There's going to be 2 reasons you invest your time, energy, and money. Hey, Omar. And this is relevant to what Nick's talking about. I'm going to build up to something here, so I encourage you to take some notes. Everything is a feedback mechanism in your life, trying to get you to be authentic to what you truly prioritize and value. And there are 4 ecosystems constantly trying to get you back to your authentic self. The first ecosystem is your psychology. Your thoughts. Your thoughts are constantly telling you the truth of who you are. When we talk about your inner wisdom, your thoughts are telling you what's going on, but you're not listening a lot of the time. So what happens is when you get asked a question, quality question, the first thing that comes into your mind is the truth. But immediately after, you will then have whatever you want to call it. Some people call it brain noise, monkey mind, whatever. But then you've got a whole bunch of other stuff that starts going on, which is all of the external, expectations and belief systems that you have taken on. So your psychology will tell you what's going on. But if you don't listen to it, the next ecosystem that will try to give you feedback is your physiology, your body. So what does that mean? Well, it'll present as physical symptoms, a headache, a back pain, a shoulder problem, a cold. Because what's happening is, so in HOP this week, we spoke about sometimes in life, you will create constant turbulent, constant pain scenarios to drive you to try and get yourself back to your authentic self. Because if you don't do it from your psychology, the next thing that's going to happen is you are going to create things in your physiology to try and push you through pain to come back to your authentic self. It's a feedback system. It's just trying to get you to listen up. But if you ignore your physiology, the next feedback system will be your sociology. So this is now where this is the divine matrix, right? This is where everybody is entangled and intertwined, playing out their role for you. So your sociology will start to give you messages, i.e. your wife, your husband, your partner, your friends. the jobs that you go and apply for. And if you don't listen to your sociology and the messages that come through, the ecosystem has already tried to get you back to balance through your psychology. You didn't listen. So then it tried to get you back to balance through your physiology. You still didn't listen. So then your sociology has tried to give you messages and cause pain for you. But if you still don't listen, that's when tragedy occurs. Accidents that aren't accidents. Things that we would walk around and say, oh, it was an accident. I had a car accident and now I can't work. That wasn't an accident. You designed that. Right? So I encourage you to, if these things are happening, what's going on is it's telling you that you are so far away from your authentic self that you are just causing constant pain in your psychology, physiology, sociology, and then in, you know, your theology or your ecosystem around you, accidents, to try and get you back to balance. Because if you're not regulating your inner world, then the external world's going to do it for you. If you keep causing pain, if you keep, if you're not investing because you're inspired, then you've just become wired rather than mastering your inner world. And what's happening for Nick, and maybe for some of you as well, you can probably relate to this. Nick, you're just building up a whole bunch of pain for yourself because you're not, for whatever reason, you've got this perception that you're not worthy or there's something going on for you around your mission. So now you're creating pain scenarios. Going back to a job is just going to be another pain scenario for you. Does this resonate, Nick?
I'm not sure. It's a lot. Maybe.
It is a lot. I have a tendency to talk too fast, as Kim has told me.
I think your pace is fine.
So let's just check the chat. The fourth ecosystem is your theology, meaning that's where tragedy and accidents happen. So if you're in a space, whether it's in your business, your relationship, your personal life, your career, whatever it is, where you are feeling a constant push-pull, a constant struggle, that is trying to send you a message around how you are so far off or away from your authentic self and what you really want to be up to. So, Nick, if money wasn't an issue, what would you really love to be doing with your day today?
I want to heal people.
Okay, can you see that was a pretty quick response? You were pretty certain about that. You didn't have to think about that. So your inner wisdom knows what you want, guys. But then you're going to stack up all your bullshit excuses for why you can't do that. So, Nick, what is actually getting in your way of healing people?
Money.
So money is what you create. So what is getting in your way of creating money?
I think the people that I want to serve really are not the people that I believe have money or are qualified leads. Because the audience that I want to serve is probably addicts and alcoholics, but there's a feeling that there's I want to go after high performance business people and stuff like that, where they're where I feel like I can get more money there or something like that, you know.
Is anybody else getting goosebumps here with this realization? Yeah. So
I think they have a lot of money. They just
I'm-
choose to spend it on their addiction.
It's true. They come up with $300 a day for the habit. Good point.
Nick, as many of you know, as an ex-drug addict, as an ex-intravenous drug addict, I can assure you we will find the money for what we want to find the money for. So it's a really great point, Omar. But can you see that everybody was getting goosebumps then, Nick, because what's going on is you already know who you want to serve and what you want to serve on, but you've actually been creating an imbalance inside of your business because you haven't been authentic about who you want to serve. Rather than looking for the solution around how do I serve the people I'd love to serve and have them pay me for it, you've been going after a fantasy about high performance CEOs, but can you see that your sociology has given you feedback? It's not sending you clients as high performance CEOs. This is your sociology, guys. Your business is a form of your sociology. So if you're not attracting clients, it's because you are not authentic about who you want to work with. Nick.
Yes. I think I'm like, where does this leave me? Or what's the next step here? Where there's been a lot of investment into something that hasn't been as successful as I want it to be.
What do you mean by that? There's been a lot of investment in something that it hasn't been as successful. Can you give us an example?
The high performance identity and mentality. And it's not the people that I necessarily really want to serve. It's just like I want, you know, money or something like that. It's not quite panning out. So I'm like, where does this, you know, take me to, like, how do you work with these people or find these people or something like that? So I think it's, you know, bad habits. And it doesn't necessarily even have to be through substance, just mental health, substance in general. But I'm just like, what's going on inside of me right now is like, well, you know, I'm not a doctor and I don't have, you know, don't work with these people. And like, how would that even work? It's a lot of like, I don't know how to participate in that space, you know, and how to take my gift there.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's because you haven't taken the time to answer those questions yet. So guys, you can get paid for anything you want to do. And I don't just mean get paid, you can get paid millions. But most people don't take the time to ask the right questions because you already have the answers. But instead of sitting down and answering quality questions to get clear on how do I get paid to do what I would love to do and work with the people that I would love to work with, we sit there and we run our frickin' stories. So that's why we're here today. And I'm really, really grateful, Nick, because I know what you have just realized around the mismatch between who you'd love to work with and who you've been chasing is something that most people here today can relate to. Yeah. So to go the step after that, which now becomes strategy rather than mindset, it's about sitting down and asking yourself the quality questions about what do I want? What does it look like, right? Who do I want to serve? And how much do I want to get paid right now in the next 3-6 months to get started? And then what do I need to do to make that happen? So some stuff's coming up. Nick's talking about, well, you know, I'm not a health professional, so how do I serve these people? I don't have the credibility. Okay, so you want to look at how do you serve those people that doesn't require you to be a credible health professional with a whole bunch of wanky pieces of paper that mean freaking nothing anyway, right? It's about asking yourself, okay, so what does that look like? Who are the addicts that might pay me personally, first and foremost?
They're everywhere. They're everywhere. There's never been more. They're all over the place.
By the way,
You're
All
probably on
four-
this call. Get on my
all
calendar.
All 14 of us here today are addicts. You are an addiction. You have an addiction to whatever your highest value is because it's a reflection of your deepest void. And it is the thing that runs you as a pleasure and a pain. So whether it's a relationship, your health and fitness, everyone's got an addiction. So you might want to get clear on what type of addictions am I inspired to work with? Because you never lose an addiction, it just changes shape and form. But so it's like, so Nick, what shape and form of an addict are you inspired to work with? What type of addiction?
I wanted to change it from the compulsion to destroy into compulsion to create.
Oh, write that down. That's from a compulsion to destroy to a compulsion to create. Did we just come up with some messaging, team? Did you write that down, Nick? Because that's really powerful. Yeah. So what does that look like as vehicles? Let's talk about and guys, by the way, you may not be wanting to work with addicts, but I encourage you to be answering your version of this question. If you are not attracting clients, or you're not attracting clients to the degree that you would love to attract, part of it is you're not clear. And if you're not clear, how the heck can the rest of the world be clear? Yeah. So the more refining you can do, the clearer you get. And then guess what? Your sociology, because it's an ecosystem, your sociology responds, meaning that clients will come to you. So Nick, what type of addicts, or what is the type of addiction or types of addiction that you would really love to work with? What is the habit? Because an addiction is a habit. What's the habit that you don't like, that you would love to work with? Pardon me.
I think substance is a good place to start because it's very visible, it's very concrete, and the people will, you know, cop to it at some point. They're gonna have to see it at some point. Whereas other habits like you know, with workaholism, where it might those might be harder to spot. So I'd probably start with substance. Okay, so is it that you want to work with high functioning addicts, or do you want to work with addicts who are not functioning very well? I don't know yet. Okay. Because I don't know yet. I talked to a guy that I did help, a guy who's just chewing dip, and he says, I've been hiding this from my wife for 10 years. And I'm thinking, she knows. She's not stupid. You can't chew dip for 10. What is that? Chew dip? What's chew dip? It's tobacco, chewing tobacco. Oh. We call it dip. Do you guys have that? I'm Aussie. Listen, I don't know about you. Chewing tobacco, but you can't. All right. Okay. So that sounds like high functioning to me, because this individual is still functioning, you know, in a career, financially, but there's like this dirty little secret. Now, this is also kind of, this is relevant for many of you, but what's also coming up for me is Britta and your audience, because Kimmy thought you said chew shit. That's a different addiction. Don't work on that. Okay, so listening carefully, because I'm going to give you another example of this using Britta as the lens, and this might be something that like kind of lights up for you. So Britta's audience is
women who've been cheated on, but not just women who've been cheated on, they're quite high functioning, high powerful, career driven women, meaning they're alpha females. But they have a secret shame going on behind closed doors, which is that they pick or create terrible relationships. Turmoil, emotionally difficult, unavailable, cheating, whatever. That is an addiction. I know from experience. Right? Because what's happening is your audience will try to project a certain persona, all of you, by the way, regardless of if it's an addiction or not, but your audience is going to try and project a certain persona. And it's your job to understand how you read behind the persona and what's going on for them behind closed doors. So when you get clear on what are they putting forward, what are they projecting, who are they trying to show the world that they are, then you ask yourself, well, what is it that they're covering up in private? Because your job is to know your audience better than they know themselves, so you can actually serve them. So in our final 15 minutes, I'm actually going to open the discussion up for everybody to start talking. But Nick, what have you gotten out of today? Let's start with you. What have you gotten out of today?
I've been pretending to not see this thing for a while now. It's too real. I'm going to have to feel things and connect with people and have real ass conversations that I might not be ready to have. And I'm going to have to look at my own bullshit at some point. It's a little bit scary, but it's exciting too. You know, and that probably means it's a good place to move. So biggest takeaway, the 4 aspects of ecology is really useful because, you know, I'm up to part 3 right now and there's not going to be an accident or a tragedy because I'm going to do something. I don't know yet.
Yeah.
The high performance and the addiction are like 2 sides of the same coin. I think we could say it's compulsion, right? It's compulsion, and that catchphrase, from compulsion to destroy to compulsion to create. I think that's a good one. And yeah, that's the biggest takeaway. We're all addicts. We have an addiction to our highest value. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing so openly today and allowing everybody a beautiful opportunity to look at what's going on for them. Just to kind of close things out with you, and this is relevant for all of us. I can't remember who said it, and I'm about to make a dog's breakfast of it, but you'll get the point, which is that somebody said, it's actually not our greatest fear around what we can't achieve. Our greatest fear is actually what we're capable of. And every single one of us here today is under functioning in what we're truly capable of because we are scared of our own greatness and what that actually means. So part of the reason that you will keep, thank you, Marianne Williamson, yeah. Part of the reason that all of you will keep creating scenarios that are designed for you to not get what you truly want is actually because you're scared that if you get it, what does that mean? Who do I have to be all of the sudden if I get the thing or I do the thing? How does it change the rest of my life where I'm super comfortable? And if you're not constantly asking yourself questions, if you're not constantly investing in yourself out of inspiration, you'll end up doing it out of desperation. And then the gap is this much bigger to fill. This is why I bang on about Business Builder, so that the gap isn't this big, it's this big. So then you actually create high performing habits because you're on just that constant 1% incremental difference every day. So Nick, thank you so much. It's been super insightful. Who else, and don't unmute just because I don't want everybody to start talking and then we miss
really quick, if it just, I wanted to say, if anyone, you know, has thoughts or strong feelings on this subject and you'd like to connect with me on Facebook, if it's personal experience, I'd love to, you know, hear what you have to say if anyone's open to that. Open invitation. Thanks, Jenny. Thanks, everyone.
Perfect. Wonderful. Thank you. Okay. Who would like to share what their insight has been from the work that Nick has done today? Just a show of hands. Britta, go for it. Come on. I saw a half hand. You don't get out of it now, girl.
Well, I thought it was more a rhetorical question in a moment.
It's now it's an open discussion, so go for it.
It's good. It's good. I loved your conversation. I love Nick. Thank you for being so vulnerable with that, because it totally resonated for me. And, you know, as I continue to grow, I have to get rid of the stuff that blocks me, and I have to face it, you know, and of course my focus is relationships and the addiction to these types of relationships. And so it does mean I got to get very real and step into that. And so, yeah, kudos, appreciate it.
Yeah, really, really beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Who else would like to share? What's been your insight from today? Team? Christopher, go for it.
Let the introverted extrovert go. I think the linking exercise around looking at what the benefit is, as well as what the what's the word you use? The down, I guess the opposite of whatever the benefit is, to look at what's the benefit of where you are, like how is it benefiting you in this moment, right? And also how is the benefit of what you want to have create, like helping you in this moment and in your future. So I always find that that's a really interesting way to look at it. So I like that conversation and listening to you help Nick create more awareness around that was cool. So that's what I think. What did you call the what's the opposite of the benefit? The drawback. Put it in the chat.
Guys, if you're doing that work on your own, I want you to be very, very clear on the language that you use. Please don't use what's the positive and what's the negative. That is creating a further polarization in your brain if you are talking in positive and negative, right? Because what happens is when you're seeing a positive, you are blind to the negative. And if you keep looking for positives, the positive thinking movement is a farce. It's actually just getting you to be more polarized. So please be mindful of your language. It's not upside or downside, because what goes up must come down. It's what is the benefit and what is the drawback, or what is the service and what is the disservice. So thanks for bringing that up, Christopher. Who else would like to share? What's been your insight from today, team? Samaya, go for it, sweetheart.
My biggest insight was just seeing Nick's breakthrough. It was just such a beautiful journey to see where he was at, completely unsure, to having this massive breakthrough and realizing what's actually blocking him from authentically serving the clients that he's here to serve. And just now, over the next few months, just seeing that evolvement, seeing him now stepping into that power, because you could see his eyes lit up. It's that aha moment that actually what I'm doing is not what my inner calling is. And just seeing that was just a beautiful journey, because now he's going to embrace this power and just step into something incredible. So thank you, Nick, for being so vulnerable, and thank you, Shani, for just sharing this journey with us and asking him all the relevant questions. And it was just remarkable to watch. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. That's giving me goosebumps. And I love what Maria has said in the chat about her takeaway. If you're not attracting clients, you are not authentic with who you want to work with. It is so, so true. Who else wants to share? What did you get out? What's your insight that you got out of today? Maria, go for it.
Yeah, I just want to add to that. It's just the layers on that, isn't it? Because I've been working on that over many years in a sense, but it's like sometimes it can almost feel for me like it's a cop out for me not to really know my audience authentically, because if I really know, then I have to maybe step up a little bit more. So it was good. It's just thin layers for me that I was like, that's not for me, is it, that sentence? But it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, one more person. Who else wants to share their insight? Aaron, I'd love to hear from you. Go for it.
Yeah, I'd really love to connect with Nick on Facebook or something. I've got a real similar situation, so I'll hit you up, bro. I'm also, like to serve addicts and alcoholics as well. And just coming from my own experience, I also wanted to hit up high performers and stuff, but who I really authentically want to serve is people who was in my zero state when I was not a high performer. Now I consider myself to be one, but even when I wasn't and I was in my lowest point, I was a severe addict, alcoholic, and I was broke, but I still managed to come up with $20,000 to invest in myself, into high ticket coaching programs to be able to build the business that I have now. So even though I think that we want to serve high performers, maybe for myself, I still want to help the people that aren't quite there yet, but that want to be able to aspire to that. So we should connect. I started doing podcasts with people because I'm not an addiction specialist myself, but I've doing podcasts now with other addiction behavior specialists so that they can be the co-host in my podcast, so that I can help on the fitness aspect of things, and they can work on more of the addiction stuff. So keep doing what you're doing, bro, and I think you're gonna come around to it.
Thank you for sharing that, because that's such a beautiful reminder. It's like there are always ways to get there, right? So you can see with what Aaron has shared, once you start to ask and answer the questions around who do I want to serve, how does that look, and how do I get there, you see the opportunities that you can make available for yourself. You don't have to be the be all and end all for your audience, right? You are one part of their journey. Remember, you are not the solver. You are simply a vehicle for transformation, and you're providing a vehicle for part of their journey. So again, it's like looking at all the different ways you can get in front of the right people and serve them as part of their journey. It's not about you doing everything. I guess there'll be a recording, Savneet. Britta, I was almost crying, because as Aaron's talking and I'm listening, and then I saw what you wrote in the chat, which is really, really meaningful, because the reason that I do what I do is because I'm trying to serve the world in teaching them how to connect with themselves so that they can better connect with others. And business happens to be the vehicle. And if I go to market and say, come and learn how to connect with yourself so you can connect with your business, people wouldn't do it, but it's in my mission statement. It's underpins everything that I do. So thank you, Britta, for being the messenger of the reminder today that to keep on keeping on. Thank you. Okay, team, would you love to have this as a regular event? Is this something that you've, yeah. Okay, awesome. So an email will go out in the next few days inviting you to change your membership to be able to access this regularly. So obviously I encourage you to read that, open that, answer that. But I really would just want to thank you all for being here. There's no mistakes, and this space today and who came was perfection. Every single one of you is here for a reason. There was a message in today for you. And so thank you so much for sharing your space, time, and energy. Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks, Erwin. All right, team, have an amazing day. I will see you at the next hop. And of course, please make sure you connect with Nick if you feel called to do so. Okay, see you, team.